Hello, and welcome back to Game a Movie Recap channel. Today we're going to tell you the storyline of a movie titled The November Man from the year 2014. This movie tells the story of a former legendary secret agent who suddenly has to confront agents he once trained. Okay, without much ado, let's get into the storyline. But before we start, please support our channel by subscribing and click the bell icon for future notifications. Now, let's start. The scene begins with a man named Mason being intimate with a woman. Mason is a rookie CIA spy. Then comes a man named Peter. Peter is Mason's mentor. He warns Mason not to get involved with anyone, as it could jeopardize the mission and the lives of the women he gets close to. They are then in a car, preparing for a protection mission in Montenegro. Mason gets out of the car to pick up the ambassador. Peter changes clothes with the ambassador so that if there are any assassins, they would think Peter is the ambassador. Upon reaching their destination, Peter gets out wearing the ambassador's clothes. He observes the surroundings for anything suspicious. Mason, with his weapon ready, is in a building near the ambassador's entourage, monitoring the situation and communicating with Peter through a radio. Peter has lock onto his target and provides Mason with a description of the person. However, Peter tells Mason not to shoot and wait for the right moment. But suddenly, 5 years have passed and Peter, who has retired, is visited by Hanley. Hanley is the leader of the CIA. He provides Peter with a file regarding a murder case involving Alexa. Alexa is a Russian hitman hired by Agent Fedorov. Then Hanley shows a photo of a woman named Talia. Hanley informs Peter that Talia is a spy within Fedorov's organization. He asks Peter to extract Talia from Fedorov. The scene shifts to a congressional building. Fedorov and Talia are seen preparing to attend an interview session. In a car, CIA agents monitor Fedorov and Talia's movements. There, Talia is escorting Fedorov, who is giving a speech. Suddenly, she leaves and breaks into Fedorov's safe. She takes pictures of documents related to Fedorov's war crimes in the past. Then, she hurriedly flees the scene. Fedorov, who has returned to his room, realizes something is amiss. He checks his safe and discovers it has been tampered with. He instantly deduces that Talia was the one behind all this and immediately sends his men to chase after Talia. Elsewhere, Hanley monitors Talia using a CIA surveillance drone. Hanley receives a call from the president's chief of staff named Perry. Perry mentions that if Talia has information about Fedorov, many agents will be chasing her. On the other side, Fedorov's henchmen manage to locate Talia, leading to a chase. Cornered, Talia receives unexpected help from someone who turns out to be Peter. Peter invites Talia into his car and quickly takes her away. Hanley's CIA team is unaware of Peter's presence. Elsewhere, Perry orders Mason to kill Talia immediately. In the car, Peter asks Talia for the name of a witness to Fedorov's crimes. Talia provides the name Mira Filipova, which Peter promptly relays to Hanley. Here, Hanley informs Peter that they are being targeted. However, in the midst of their escape attempt, a sniper takes a shot that unfortunately hits Talia. Dying, Talia hands her phone to Peter, which contains crucial evidence. The CIA team that was pursuing Peter leaves the parking area, but Peter kills them all. Unexpectedly, Peter encounters Mason there, and they both go their separate ways. Peter orders a taxi and heads to the airport. In the taxi, Peter opens Talia's phone and sees the photos of evidence. Peter immediately removes the microSD card from the phone and disposes of the device. Back at his home, Hanley accesses a computer to search for information about Mira Filipova. However, he is suddenly raided by CIA agents. Hanley quickly shoots his computer to erase the information. He is then arrested for interrogation. Elsewhere, there's an investigative journalist named Edgar, who is seeking information about Fedorov, a Russian politician. At the airport, Alexa, the Moscow-based contract killer, arrives in America. She orders a taxi and heads to a hotel. In her hotel room, she unpacks her bag, revealing an arsenal of weapons she plans to use for her mission. In the office, Mason is seen talking to Perry. Perry questions why he didn't shoot Peter, but Mason doesn't respond to that question. Perry then orders Mason to kill Peter. Peter, who has arrived in New York, immediately orders a taxi and rushes to Hanley's house. He finds two people who have captured Hanley. Without much delay, Peter defeats them. Elsewhere, Alexa meets with her contact at an internet cafe to gather information about Mira. They discover the name Alice Fournier. Alexa learns that Alice is going to meet Edgar at a restaurant. Alexa quickly heads to that restaurant. Back at Hanley's house, Peter accesses Mira's personal data. He contacts Hanley's crew to track Alice Fournier's location. They find Alice at a restaurant. Mason, who is with Hanley's team, becomes suspicious and requests to call the agent at Hanley's house. However, the call goes unanswered as the agent there is held hostage by Peter. Mason realizes that the recent caller was Peter, while Peter already heads to the restaurant. In the restaurant, Alexa disguises herself as a waitress and tells Alice there's a phone call for her. Peter, in hiding, calls Alice and warns her not to follow Alexa, revealing that Alexa is an assassin. Shortly after, Mason arrives and a tense confrontation unfolds. Peter, who successfully escapes, actually calls Mason, giving Mason the opportunity to track him. One of Mason's subordinates manages to locate Alice, but it turns out to be a trap set up by Peter to manipulate the CIA's phone. In the parking lot, Peter breaks a car window and cuts the fuel line. Mason and his team approach Peter's car, and thanks to the trap he prepared, Peter detonates the car, creating an opening for his escape. Peter inquires about Mira's whereabouts and informs Mason about Alexa and the CIA. Then both of them move on by taking a train. After arriving at a house, Alice shows Peter a file containing a case. Peter sees a photo of a man on the case board. This man was Fedorov's right hand during the Oasis conflict. Peter asks about his whereabouts and rushes there. Soon they both arrive at that location and meet Denisov, discussing the Oasis case. Elsewhere, Mason meets Perry. He is provoked by Perry, who gives him a USB stick. The USB stick contains Peter's assessment of Mason. Mason immediately opens the contents of the USB stick. It turns out that the results of Mason's training in Montenegro were considered a failure by Peter. Peter, who is with Alice, discovers new information. Mira is a witness to Fedorov's crimes involving CIA agents. They initiate the slaughter by killing hundreds of people. That night, Peter breaks into a house and rests there while keeping an eye on Mason, who has just returned from his date. He prepares to meet Mason. Peter can't bring Alice along for his mission, so he gives her money and a phone to stay safe. Sarah, who is Mason's date and neighbor, contacts Mason. Mason rushes to Sarah's location. It turns out that Sarah is being held hostage by Peter, and Peter demands an explanation from Mason. The next morning, Alice goes to Edgar's house. She intends to tell him everything about Fedorov. They enter and start talking. Alice reveals that Mira pretended to be mute. Fedorov liked Mira and kept her captive like a pet. However, in the middle of their conversation, Alexa suddenly appears and attacks Edgar. Fortunately, Edgar manages to restrain Alexa, allowing Alice to escape from the scene. On the other side, Peter goes to a harbor and immediately eliminates all the guards there. He enters a container where Hanley is being held captive. Hanley reveals that Fedorov is conspiring to bomb a Russian army building, blaming it on the Oasis Company. Fedorov has also seized the Oasis oil field. Hanley informs Peter that the mastermind of the case is Perry. It is also revealed that Alice is, in fact, Mira. Elsewhere, Mason informs Perry that Peter has a daughter named Lucy. It turns out Peter has a family, and he's been keeping them hidden. Meanwhile, Alice, who managed to escape, goes to Denisov. She tells him that Peter needs his help. In his office, Mason receives data that a woman named Alice Fournier has died from cancer. They discover that Alice Fournier is, in fact, Mira Filipova. The scene shifts as Mira disguises herself and goes to a hotel. She calls Peter to inform him of her whereabouts. Mira reaches the hotel room, but Fedorov is already inside. She enters the bathroom, where she recalls her family being murdered by Fedorov right before her eyes. Now she is filled with a desire for revenge. Mira comes out of the bathroom and threatens Fedorov with a piece of broken glass concealed in her clothing. Peter arrives shortly and joins the confrontation. He instructs Mira to record Fedorov while he interrogates him. Peter forces Fedorov to reveal the name of the CIA agent involved in the Oasis case. Fedorov confesses that it's Hanley. Their Mira also confirms that Hanley is indeed the mastermind behind the case. Shortly after, Mason arrives with his team, and they start searching for Peter. Peter instructs Mira to book a hotel room and go to the Netherlands if he doesn't make it out alive. A thrilling chase ensues, featuring an epic showdown between mentor and student. Peter hands Mason a phone and asks him to watch the recorded evidence. Mason takes the phone and views it with his colleague Celia. Together they plan to show the evidence to Perry. However, when they arrive, they discover that Hanley has replaced Perry. Peter goes to the hotel that Mira had booked and tells her to go to the Netherlands to start a new life. The next day, Peter calls Lucy, but Hanley answers Lucy's phone. Hanley has kidnapped Lucy and taken her to a location. Hanley demands that Peter meet him there for an exchange. They meet at the designated spot, revealing that Fedorov wants to become president, and Hanley is working to make it happen. Peter discloses Mira's whereabouts to Hanley, who orders Mason to capture her. At the airport, Mira purchases 3 tickets to make her escape. While waiting for Peter, she accesses a computer and documents all the facts about the case. Her actions inadvertently lead Alexa to track her down. Soon, Alexa arrives at the airport and begins searching for Mira. When Mira spots Alexa, she tries to flee from her pursuer. Meanwhile, Mason is also heading to Mira's location, but he intentionally crashes his car into a wall. It turns out that Mason has sided with Peter. He proceeds to rescue Lucy and intends to apprehend Hanley, leading to an epic rescue mission. After reuniting with his daughter, Peter rushes to the airport. Upon arriving, he finally meets Mira, and they immediately head to the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, Mira provides a statement to the International Court, exposing Fedorov's crimes. The scene shifts to a cruise ship where Fedorov is leisurely relaxing with a cigar in hand. Suddenly, he is shot by a sniper, and the identity of the sniper remains unknown until the end, and the movie finally concludes. What do you think of this movie? Write your thoughts in the comments section below. Also, did you enjoy the recap? Hit the like button if you liked it, subscribe if you loved it, and feel free to share this content with your friends and family as well. Check out our channel to find various movie recaps of your liking, and don't forget to ring the notifications bell to stay updated with our future videos. And that's about it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.